Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Jay St. Hilaire, founder of Jay's Real Estate Investing Seminar and author of Stop Renting and Be a Homeowner Now. And welcome to video number 2 of the 3-part training video series on 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. In the first video, we've received an overwhelming response from all of you. I want to thank you guys for all the kind comments and shares. I have shared with you in video number 1 how you had the opportunity to cash in on the multi-billion-dollar real estate industry and get paid with unlimited lifetime income through a few simple steps, and I've walked you through some of those. If you missed video 1, make sure you check it out. In the second video, I'm going to reveal my unique framework for you guys to model so that you can make tens of thousands of dollars from it. This one is really about the full picture of how to approach real estate investment, right from the internal stuff that you have to work on yourself to all the pieces of the puzzle that you can literally build your own cash machine with. So I'm going to show you the 7 building blocks of your real estate business that you must have, and once you've built them up correctly, you can get paid over and over again. The better and more efficient you get, the more you will get paid. I'll also cover what you must do to reprogram yourself so that people will be magnetically attracted to you and insist on doing business with you. As I said, it's the complete framework that covers the business system and the human element to ensure your well-deserved total success in your personal and financial life. Before I begin, I'm going to walk you through a few years in time when I was just getting started as a rookie in real estate world. The way I got involved in this is not that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth or that I had rich relatives and connections that paved the way to my success that I'm now enjoying. Maybe it's something that brought you here too. Something changed in my life. Maybe you're going through a dramatic change. Maybe you're thinking about what will be the next step or stage in your life, or what to do with my stagnant career. In this new economy where untold wealth has been made quicker and easier in the history of mankind, it's driven by knowledge and network. Everybody is connected and within reach at a click of a mouse or tap on the phone. With the correct knowledge directed at an unserved and desperate market opportunity, anybody can be the knight in shining armor if you can get them to the next step that they want. Obviously, you can make a lot of money and help a lot of people. That's exactly what I did to improve my life tremendously. At one time, I was a renter working 70 hours a week and never had enough time or never had enough money at the end of the month. Every time I was invited to a housewarming party from one of my buddies or saw a new house for sale, I would dream about having my own house that I can proudly call my own. Escaping into my own dreamland and imagining my family around me inside the warm and cozy home. That was what kept me going to seek out what I didn't know, despite being totally exhausted from my work every day. I thought to myself, there has to be a trail of success that I can follow and find my own pot of gold. So I saved every penny I could, and I studied with the best real estate trainers in the world. I took notes furiously and asked questions relentlessly to extract all kinds and bits of golden nuggets from them. With massive action taking and accompanied with countless obstacles and lessons, I shouldered on in to inch closer to the end of the proverbial rainbow. Today, as a part-time real estate investor, I am blessed with an amazing-looking portfolio that is sending checks to me monthly. I've been blessed to take my family with me for holidays with all the profits generated. I still have the stirring desire inside of me that I feel I have a mission to share what I have learned and experienced through my own trail of success for anyone who wants to regain control of your life. So I went on to write and publish my book. I conducted workshops and seminars to give back to society. What I have learned has changed my life, and it could change yours too. I know there are thousands of people listening to me right now from all walks of life. This unique model that I'm going to unveil to you right now is so easy to understand that you can start to apply right away at the end of this video. Guys, this is where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about the 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. Number 1, the number 1 step that you need to get ingrained in your brain is to decide. Decide you're going to be an investor. Say it out loud. Tell everybody. Tell your family. Tell your friends. You have to feel it in your being. You are an investor. Say, I'm an investor. Say it out loud right now. That's the first conscious decision you have to make. And the way you get better at that decision, the way you improve upon that decision and make it real is by improving your mindset, developing your mindset. And not only we're going to teach you how to become an investor, because when I first started learning all this stuff, I didn't realize that mindset was the number 1 category that I had to do. You can learn all the strategies you want in the world, but if you don't develop your mindset and keep these strategies and tips and the blueprint in your mind, if you don't keep mindset on your mind to keep all these other strategies going, nothing's going to work. You're going to have knowledge, you're going to have the path and plan, but what you really need to do is develop your mindset so you can decide you're going to be an investor and not quit. So once you make that conscious decision, these are the do's. There's going to be do's and don'ts, and I want to tell you what the do's are first. Once you make that decision, you're going to develop your mindset. And how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to give you some tips in a few minutes on how to do that. We're not only going to tell you what to do, why to do it, but we're also going to tell you how to do it. So we're not only going to teach you strategies, we're going to teach you how to implement them strategies by developing what's between your ears. Okay, so that's the most important. Decide you're going to be an investor. All right. Next thing is you're going to listen to positive people. That's how you're going to develop this mindset. You know, you've had people in your life. It could be a family member, a spouse, a friend, a relative, a boss. People that are going to tell you that you can't do this, that you don't have the know-how. You can't trust that guy. You can't trust that gal to teach you. You're going to be hearing all kinds of stuff when you're learning this and your goal and your journey to become an investor. You're going to hear all this kinds of stuff, and what's going to trigger that is you watching the news, and that's going to be some negative things you want to cut out too. But do listen to positive people, okay? Okay, the next thing that we're going to want to do, like I said, was follow positive people. It could be your mentor, it could be a relative, whoever that person is that you find positive. You want to make sure you hang around them because you're going to be feeding off them and they're going to feed off you. So once you tell them that you've decided to be an investor, they're going to give you, they're going to give you praise. They're going to give you positive feedback. They're going to tell you, yeah, that's great, man, or gal, you can do this. And that's what you need, because that feeds your ability to proceed with all this knowledge, okay? And another thing, to become positive, you want to listen to motivational tapes. Now that's what I did, how I became very positive at the beginning of my real estate journey. I started listening to positive tapes, CDs, going to seminars, my mentor, any mentor that I could follow that was positive, I did. Not only in real estate, but developing my mindset, and creating habits. You have to create habits, and you have to create habits also. So 3 things that I want you to keep in mind after you make this decision and you go forward is you have to create good attitude, you have to create good habits, and you have to develop your mindset. Them 3 things are all at the core of this wheel of the 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. So listen to motivational tapes and quotes. Anytime you see a positive quote, say it to yourself, say it out loud. Use these positive quotes to inspire you, motivate you, and make you drive further in your journey to learn this stuff. Because once you start doing all this, it's like a freight train. It keeps momentum, keeps pushing you, and keeps making you better. So go on to YouTube. This is where you can get motivational quotes, motivational videos, find motivational people on YouTube, Google, different forums. In your whole life, if you got a 9-to-5 job, look for people that are positive around you and stay away from the negative people. Okay, so them are some of the do's. All right, YouTube, Google, positive atmosphere, I'm not a very good speller, so excuse my spelling, excuse my sloppy writing. But let's talk about some mentors in your life. If you don't have one, you want to pick somebody out. Yeah, it could be, I really hope I'm your mentor in real estate through these videos, these free training, but you want to find outside of me to keep that momentum going, somebody in your life. We already mentioned that, but I just have to reiterate that because it's so important. But also, I want you guys to post your goal. The next thing that is to do is to post your goal and write it on an index card, a 3x5 index card. Make up about 20 of them cards. Write your goal down. Now, if your first goal is to work on deciding to be a real estate investor, write on that index card, I am a real estate investor. Close your eyes and say it. Put it on your mirror when you get up in the morning and brush your teeth. You see it, it's right on your mirror. Put it right on the side of your light switch when you go to bed at night. And when you get up in the morning, you turn that light switch on, you see your goal, I want to be an investor. Or not, I want to be an investor, right on your goal card, I am an investor. So you see that every day, and it builds, stacks blocks on top of each other to make you more inspired, more motivated, and ingrains this in your subconscious, because now you're starting to think like an investor. So once you get that first step, that number one, that's why it's so important, that number one step is to build that mindset, build that decision, make that decision, build it inside of you, and it creates momentum. Next thing you want to do that is you want to say no to overload. A lot of times people will ask you to do things, and you're already a doer. If you're watching this video, I know you're a doer. You're somebody that takes action. So I know you're somebody who, every time somebody asks you to do something, you always say yes. You always try to help people out and do the right thing. Well, what you have to do is be able to say no to that overload. You have a focus right now, a decision to make that you're going to be an investor. And to be an investor, you have to learn these steps, these 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. To learn this stuff, you're going to be having an income that you'll be able to go and do things during the day. You'll be able to go and help people when you want, because that passive income will be coming in day after day, whether you're working or not. You're going to do the work first. You're going to get paid for doing that work over and over for the rest of your life after you do the work at first. So right now you can say no to that overload. Say no. I know it's hard, but this is one of the things I've learned you have to do, is say no to certain things to get on track and make these decisions to go further and follow this path to be an investor and make passive income and learn and earn unlimited income. So say no to the overload. Next thing I want to talk about is the don'ts. Okay, so just let me get rid of this here quick. Once you make the decision and do all the do's that I just talked about, I want you to also think about what you don't want to do. It's just as important as the do's. Okay. Don't listen to negative people. We already talked about listening to positive people, but you have to not listen to negative people. Don't listen to negative people. And it's very, very hard to do, because there's a lot of negative people in the world, and they just have not learned what you're learning right now, is how important it is to use that mindset to get rid of that negative stuff, because that's all it takes sometimes is a little shift to make you successful. And that's getting rid of the negative and pushing in the positive. If you get rid of that stuff, that negative stuff, push in some positive, you'll be amazed how quick you can learn things, especially when you have the path and plan right now that I'm going to give you to have unlimited income. It's so important to use that mindset, make that decision, use that mindset, and do your do's and do your don'ts. So do not listen to negative people. Do not let negative people tell you bad advice. Don't let them tell you that you can't do this, that this doesn't work, it's a bad time for real estate. Don't let them tell you that. Also, do not watch the news, okay? Don't listen to negative people, okay? Don't watch the news. This is one thing that I learned from my mentor, and it really makes a big impact. You watch the news every night, and bad news sells. Negative stuff sells. So that's all I talk about, is negative stuff all the time. People getting killed, people getting hurt, people getting robbed. I mean, anything negative you can think about. I mean, how the economy's tanked, how real estate's no good now. Well, all these things I know different, because I don't think I've watched the news. I might have watched the news here and there for 1 or 2 minutes because something positive was on there. I'm always looking for the positive, what I can draw out of it. I just make a goal of that. But normally I don't watch the news because it's 95% negative, because that's what sells. That's what draws the majority of people in. But you're different. You and I are different because we're looking for positive stuff. We're getting rid of the negative stuff. So stay away from the news. Don't watch news. even if you go on a 30-day news diet, just from what we're learning right here, spend the next 30 days learning what I'm going to teach you here in these free videos, and stay away from the news. People say you don't have time. That's one of the things that why people don't learn real estate or learn something that can create massive income for them, because they say they don't have time. Well, take that 30 minutes you would normally watch the news and spend it right here with me, learning in these free videos exactly what to do to have passive income for the rest of your life. So don't watch the news, okay? Sometimes I get sidetracked on things. That brings me to another don't. Don't get sidetracked, and keep your momentum, okay? And I say don't get sidetracked, and what I mean by that is, same thing with overload. Don't let people come into your life and, I mean, your family is one thing, but don't let people that have an agenda other than yours come in. Like, for an example, when you get up the first thing in the morning, normally what 95% of the people do is check their email. Okay, they look at their email and they answer back to people on their email. And what you're doing is you're letting other people, you're fulfilling other people's agenda. You're getting back to all these people on their email. First of all, you're checking your email when you shouldn't be. The first thing when you get up in the morning, you should have your agenda. You should use what's your own agenda. If you say it, you know, as soon as you look at that light switch and see your goals in the morning, you should be doing something right off the bat in the morning when you get up. Right after you use the bathroom, right after you get a drink of water, do something on that towards your goal. Don't check your email. That's somebody else's agenda. Get in a habit of not getting sidetracked and keeping momentum on doing what it takes to succeed in your goal, okay? So don't get sidetracked. That's the next don't. The last don't that I want you guys to listen to and really focus on is do not quit. I don't care what you do when you're learning this. If you're still with me in this second or third video, whichever one it is, if you're still with me, I know that you have what it takes to learn real estate. And believe me, if you do the steps that I'm teaching you and you work on them, you are going to be successful, guaranteed. Persistence, determination, and do not quit. Don't quit, all right? Do not give up. That's the most important that I want you guys to take away from this step number one. And it's, believe me, sometimes it's hard, but do not quit. You'll thank me later if you really proceed with this last don't. Don't quit. And another thing I want to tell you is that you really should have somebody to keep you accountable. Have somebody that's positive, somebody that really wants to see you succeed and see you go through with that decision that you're going to become an investor. Because I guarantee that once you start learning this process, once you start learning these strategies and tips, the people that have been around you and see you as positive, and the people that are around you that are positive, they're going to become even more positive. They're going to be learning from you, and you guys are going to be putting your brains together and pushing each other to succeed even further. Believe me, once you start to succeed, it's like a snowball going down a hill. Everybody around you that wants to be positive is going to hang with you. The negative people the people that are going to be negative in your life, they're just going to fall by the wayside. They're not going to hang around you anymore because you're going to be so positive. You're going to be so goal-driven. They know that you're succeeding at something that they're not. And most of the time, they really want to learn what you learn and go through the process of being the best they can be and achieving goals. But sometimes they don't have what it takes because they don't have somebody that keeps them accountable or that is positive around them. You might be the only positive person around them. You don't even know it. And they're actually looking for you to push, to show them certain ways to be positive and be successful. And that's what you want to be. You want to be a mentor yourself. So after you learn these steps from me, after you become successful and decide that you're going to be an investor, decide that you want to have unlimited income, you're going to be teaching people that still hang with you and still stay with you, that kept you positive all through the steps in your learning journey. So make sure you guys do step number one, decide you're going to be an investor. Do everything that I told you and move on to step number two coming up. Second thing that you guys need to know is you have to build a team. It's so important to build a team. This is number two in the 7 steps. And why you want to build a team is because success is not built by one person alone. You cannot do everything by yourself. I know I've tried from the beginning of this journey. I tried to do as much as I can at the beginning, and I learned that if you build a team first, the second, number one was decide you want to be an investor. This number two that we're going to talk about here right now is build a team. And that's because you get things done so much faster with a team. You use other team members' expertise, you use their time, you leverage. Leverage is a big thing in this real estate journey. So you have to leverage other people's time. Just like when you do a real estate deal, you leverage other people's money and other people's time. But when you're building a team, you're leveraging other people's expertise, other people's time. Like maybe, I know I still have a job, 9-to-5 job, and yeah, I could quit right now if I wanted to. I make way more money in real estate than I do at my job, but I kind of like my job right now. I have good benefits, and I like what I do. So I have to leverage a team. And I know some of you may have a 9-to-5 job, you may not, but either way, leverage and building a team is a superior thing that you need to do. Number one, you need an assistant, okay? You can do things by yourself for so long and then you get overwhelmed. To use an assistant, to hire an assistant, you have to negotiate the pay, or you might be able to barter something back and forth that they may need or you may need. There's a number of ways that you can hire an assistant, but that's the very first thing you want to do is hire an assistant. What they're going to do is daily tasks for you. They're going to be, you're going to be using your unique ability in making deals or doing things that is your unique ability. So you want to pay your assistant to do these other daily tasks. It might be answering the phone, calling buyers, calling sellers, running errands, typing documents. Whatever that is, you're going to need them. Believe me, you're going to be needing them to do all these tasks. And once you have a team, you're more efficient, you're more professional. So I want you to really think about that and make that the first thing you do when you build a team is hire an assistant. Okay, so number two is you're going to want to hire an attorney. And why do you want to hire an attorney? Well, you're going to be leveraging them. Assistant is for daily tasks, phone calls, finding buyers, finding sellers, etc., etc. Typing documents. There's tons and tons of stuff that your assistant's going to do. The attorney is very important because you don't know what to do yet. You don't know how to draw up contracts. You're not an attorney yourself. You need legal advice. But that's what your attorney's for. When I talk about doing deals in real estate, it's what your attorney is going to do is take care of all your legal documents, all your legal advice. Okay, they're going to give you direction on what to do, what not to do. Because when you first start out, you really don't know what to do. This is your leverage, and this is your go-to guy or gal to teach you what you need to do for these real estate deals. You're going to, as we talk more about what to do exactly precisely in each strategic category of investing, they're going to guide you on which way to go. They're going to give you direction. They're going to draw up your purchase offers. When you make an offer on a property, they're going to they're going to do your closings for you. They're going to find out about liens and judgments. When you find out there's a lien or a judgment on a property, they're going to do the work for you. They're going to do the work of finding out who the liens or judgments are against and who are they from, so they can negotiate and get them off. I mean, this is a little bit more advanced than what you're from what you're going to learn at first, but I'm just telling you this because you're going to use them later on down the road. So, attorneys, they're going to be doing closings. They're going to be doing documents for you. They're going to be giving you legal advice. Okay? The next thing on your team is going to be a title company, and that's very, very important. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was locking properties up on contracts, and when I say that, I mean I make an offer, a purchase offer. You use your attorney to make the purchase offer, or you can use a real estate agent. We're going to talk about the real estate agent later on in a few minutes down the road, farther down in what team members you need. But the attorney can draw up a purchase agreement for you, and that's a very important document because that's the offer you're going to make on the property that you're interested in. And when they do, before you even do that, you're going to get a hold of your title company. That's the third person in your team that you're going to want to enlist. What I need you to know about attorneys is they're going to do your purchase offer, your purchase and agreement offer on your property. And we just talked about what that means. And before you even do that, you want to get a hold of your title company. That's why you want to enlist your title company as a team member, because you're going to call up your title company, your guy or gal, and say, listen, here's the address of the property that I'm buying. Tell me if there's any liens or judgments on it, and do a search. And what that search is called is a first owner search, all right? And don't worry about it if you don't know what it is. That's why you have team members. Your attorney and your title company will do this for you. They'll know what to do. You tell them that you're going to buy this property, they'll search in the county courthouse records if there's any liens or judgments on this property, and let you know if you want to proceed with the purchase offer. Or if something happens, you don't do it right off, you make the purchase offer, and you have exit strategies in there, well, you can get out of the deal with your exit strategies and contingencies in your purchase offer. But the attorney's going to take care of all that, but your title company also is going to help you out with that. Depending on what part of what state you're in, or what part of the country you're in, title companies sometimes take care of certain things. Attorneys sometimes take care of the same things in a different state. So you'll learn that no matter what state you're in. But title company is going to do a first owner search for you, let you know if there's any problems with title, problems with any liens or documents, so then you can go forward and go ahead with the deal. Okay, so they're very important. The title company, they're going to do first owner searches. They're going to do a 40-year abstract for you, which is a search on the total property that goes way back 40 years and tells your buyer that everything's okay to buy the property. They're going to look for judgments and liens, and that you can also get cash buyers for them. They can tell you, also your attorney and your title company, all these team members can get you cash buyers. They can find you homes that are selling. You're going to use them to network also. So title company is searches. You're going to get buyers, sellers, and you're going to network. And they're going to record all these deals. Your attorney and title company is going to record all these deals for you, and they're going to do closings for you. They're going to take care of all that stuff. So you don't need to know all this stuff, because your team, that's the importance of this building a team, what this is going to do for you. So the next one to build a team would be your real estate agent. And why you need a real estate agent is because as an investor, you want to find that real estate agent that is good with investors, that works with investors. Why? Because they're going to bring you properties for sale. They're going to have access to the MLS, which is multiple listing service. They're going to have tons of property that they're going to find motivated sellers for you, and that's a key ingredient in this whole wheel that you're learning in real estate. They're going to find you very motivated sellers. They're going to be able to give you comps, which are comparable sales of other properties, so you know what properties are worth and how much to pay for them. Okay, they're buyers, sellers, comps, purchase agreements. They're also going to fill out your purchase agreements for you. When you make an offer on a property, they're going to give you they're going to give you the purchase agreement. They're going to have it all written up. They're going to help you fill it out, and they're just going to be another person in your network, on your team, that's going to help you. See, one person, you can't build a house with one person. You can't buy real estate with one person. You have to have this team that helps you. They're going to help you negotiate with the sellers. Sometimes, that you may need help. Depends if they're working for you, the buyer, or if they're working for the seller. But in a lot of cases, they can help you negotiate. And you're going to be networking with them, and they're going to be also showing you properties. They're going to be showing your buyers properties. So they're a very important part of your whole team. So real estate agent, They're going to have access to the MLS. They're going to be able to do comps for you. You're going to use them to network. And you're going to find buyers from them. You're going to find sellers from them. So they're a very important part of your team. The fifth team member that you want to leverage on your team is a CPA. You definitely want to get a CPA. I know you might be saying, Jay, I don't need a CPA right off because I haven't bought any property. Well, let me tell you, you really want to go talk to this team member and start building a rapport and a relationship with them, even though you haven't bought any properties yet, because that's the time you want to talk to a CPA and put that team member on your team. Because if you get this stuff out of the way before you start buying properties, you're going to thank me for giving you this advice, because I did it just the opposite. I started buying properties. I think I bought properties for a year or two. I went through two tax accountants, and they didn't really understand real estate. Real estate, as in tax purposes, is a little bit complicated. And not to scare you guys off, because you're not going to be doing this. It's your team member. Your CPA is going to be taking care of this. They're going to be giving you advice, all right? So no need to be afraid of this. You need to listen to me and put one of these CPAs on your team right off the bat. So go talk to them. Tell them what you're going to do. Tell them you're going to invest in real estate. You've already made the decision inside yourself that you are going to be a successful real estate investor. So tell them you're going to do 20, 30, 40 deals, 100 deals a year. You know, dream big. Even if you do 5 deals a year or 10 deals a year, tell them you're going to do 100. Let them know that you mean business and that you're going to need their expertise. So sit down and talk to them, and what they're going to tell you and the expertise that they're going to bring into this for you is they're going to be giving you advice, and they're going to be an amazing source of advice on buying and selling properties, because they're going to tell you how to structure the deal. Or you're going to tell them how you're going to do it, and they're going to say, okay, that's good, you can do it this way, or it's not a good idea tax-wise. But they're going to have all your tax advice for you before you buy the property. You can go talk to them about it, okay? They're going to be helping you on taxes. They're going to be helping you on deal structure, net worth, how to structure your business, all these things that you want to get set up before you start investing, as opposed to later like I did, because I had to take all my properties that I bought and re-put them in the system for tax purposes. So if you're going to get this advice right now, and if you do this, you're going to be way ahead of a lot of other people, because most people don't do this first. So your CPA is a very important person. They're going to give you advice on your taxes. They're going to give you advice on your deal structure. Okay? They're also going to be a source of networking as a secondary. They're going to find you buyers. They're going to find you sellers, because they know a lot of people. They have a lot of people in their network. And one thing that all these people in your team are doing, they're leveraging. You are leveraging their expertise. I don't want you guys to think that this is very complicated, because it's not. That's what your team is going to do for you. That's what you pay them to do. Now, like for instance, a real estate agent gets 6% of the deal no matter what when they sell a property that's on the MLS. Well, they're already getting paid that 6%. So they're going to want to look for more properties for you to buy. They're going to look for deals. They're going to look for property managers for you. They're going to look for an attorney or a CPA or an insurance agent. They're going to be helping you find these other team members and helping you in every way, because they're going to be making money. It's going to be real easy for you to build this business and do these 7 steps, because all these team members, every time you put a team member on, you're stacking their leverage one on top of the other. So don't think that you can't learn this stuff or do this stuff, because your team members are the ones that are going to be doing 98% of the work. And you're going to be basically learning. You're going to be getting paid to learn this stuff. And what you're learning right here in these videos is going to be astronomical. You're going to you're taking my learning curve that I spent years to learn, and all my failures that I've went through and learned from, and I'm going to be teaching you these right here. I mean, just from this alone, telling you what team members that you're going to need and what you want to build first, that's going to save you years and tons of money and frustration. Just to leverage alone. I mean, we all know that to get things done massively, you need leverage. So not only the real estate agent, I mean your CPA. My CPA is one big asset to my whole business. Because just let me give you an example. When I buy a bunch of properties, once you have constant contact with your CPA through the year, at the end of the year, my taxes are already done. We already know if I need to buy a property or if I need to sell a property before it even comes, because I'm in contact with my CPA, and she says, "Well, you might be making too much money. You know, you got to buy another. You got to buy another property." You know, you're not doing anything illegal. You're doing things smart. You're learning how much money you're making through the year through your CPA. She's doing this for you, and she's telling you if you need to buy more property or if you need to sell some property. It's just smart business. People who succeed in this world are people who do the things that I'm telling you right now. They don't worry. I used to bring my taxes to the tax accountant at the end of the year and have a box that high and go through them all. And after a week or two, my tax accountant pulling all their hair out and saying, "Hey, you need more receipts. You need this, need that. Oh my God, you owe $8,000 to the government." Well, after learning how to put a CPA on my team at the beginning, now my CPA tells me if I'm making money, if I'm losing money. Every single property that I own, she can tell me in a profit or loss statement if I'm making money on this property, if I'm losing money on it. If you don't know these kinds of things, you're just taking a shot in the dark on anything you do. So you're working smarter by listening to these videos. You're not working harder. Yeah, you might be a hard worker, just like we all are that want to succeed. But you're working hard, smarter. And when you put them two together, harder and smarter, you get success. So that's what I want you guys to take away from this, and these team members, building a team, how important it is. Your assistant, your attorney, your title company, your real estate agent, your CPA, all these team members, you're building leverage, and they're basically doing the work for you. Just like a company that that has employees. You treat your employees very well, they do a very good job for you. You guys all succeed together because you grow, learn, and succeed together. And you use each other's leverage. And each of you build success one block on top of one block on top of each other to build momentum. And before long, you're very successful massively. You have not only 7 times your income, but you have 1,000 times your income. Third step in 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income is finding buyers. This is where I differ from every other teacher, mentor out there. And the reason being is everybody else looks for sellers first. They look for very motivated sellers and think that that's the most important. But don't get me wrong, that is important. But the way I'm unique and do things different, and the way I teach, is to find buyers first. That's how I'm so different from everybody else, because once you find the buyers first, you know exactly what they have to spend. You know exactly what area they want. And what you're not doing is you're not buying a property first like everybody else is and sitting on the property and hoping to find a buyer. In that meantime, you're paying taxes. If it's in a cold environment and that part of the area that you're living in, you're going to pay for heat all winter. So it's costing you money. You're going to pay for taxes. Every day that you own that property that you don't have a buyer, that you're sitting on it, there's what's called holding costs. And taxes, insurance, heat. No, if it's a real hot area, you're paying for electricity, for air conditioning. These are all things that you got to really think about. And as an investor for the last 7 years and learning from one of the best real estate trainers in history, I've gone over and over things that I'm doing right, things that I'm doing wrong, and how I can improve on different areas. And finding buyers is one way. Finding buyers first is one way that I'm more successful than I think than other investors. So this is what I'm teaching you right now. If you find buyers first, it's just like people who sell cars. They got a ton of cars on a lot and they're ready to sell them. What do? They buy a bunch of cars because you say, hey, you have to have the product or the cars to sell before you can sell anything. Well, that's not true. If you find the buyers first, you don't have to spend them holding costs to have your properties. Just like, I don't know why car buyers or car sellers, dealers don't do this themselves. Find the buyers first, then buy the cars. Don't have them on the lot first. So find your buyers first. You know what they have to spend. If it's a cash buyer, you know how much they have to spend. So the basic thing, the main ingredient is you know what to negotiate your buy price for. So if you have a buyer that has $50,000 to spend on a property. Well, if you want to make a $10,000 profit, you're gonna go negotiate that buy price on the property for $40,000. I mean, give or take some not holding costs, but some closing costs and different costs that it cost of doing business. Say it costs you $2,000 to do that deal. Well, that means you're going to negotiate that buy price for $12,000, $2,000 and cost of business and $10,000 profit for you. The main ingredient here is you have your buyer, you know what he's got to spend, so you know exactly what you have to negotiate to buy the property for. So you know this going in. So when you negotiate a price, say if your buyer wants to spend $50,000, you go make the offer $38,000. That's what your minimum offer or maximum offer can be. Well, you even offer a lot less than that, say another $5,000 less than that. So it gives you room to move up to your maximum offer, okay? The whole idea though is find your buyers first and you know what you can negotiate. You know that number. So when you give that number as an offer, either take it or leave it. If you don't get it, you move on to the next property. You don't waste all kinds of time, but just like other investors do, negotiating and haggling and trying to get that price down. You know the price, you give the offer. If they take it, great. You know you're going to make your profit. It's already figured in there because you already have your buyer. And if you don't, great. You move on to the next deal, and you know the formula for your offers because you already have the buyer and what they're going to pay for the property. So you know what to negotiate the price. How do you find these buyers? Well, I can sit here and teach all night on how to find buyers. But for those of you who want to know more ways, I'm going to give you just a few Craigslist.org. If you guys have never used this, maybe a lot of you have used this website, social media, Craigslist. You can find buyers all day long on there. And auctions, you can go to auctions. That's where you can find buyers. Even if you don't go to the auction to buy property, I always go to auctions with cash in my pocket or a line of credit so I can buy properties. But most of the time, I go to these auctions to find buyers because where else do you find buyers? They're there to buy property. So you go up and you build a rapport with them and you talk to them, you give them your business card, and you ask them, what their last deal was they bought, how much they paid for it, what zip code they're buying in, what's the price range they're buying in. Are they buying 1,500, 1,200 square foot houses with between 30 and 50,000? And you keep a note on everything that you talk to about with these buyers because this is a perfect place to find them. That's where you find them at the auctions, and that's how to find them. Other places, you talk to your real estate agent, they have buyers. They have the MLS listing, and normally the real estate agents sell properties. They're in the business of selling properties, but they also have buyers for something that they don't have. If there's a lot of buyers calling up saying, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,200 square feet, and zip code 12345. Well, maybe there's no properties on the MLS that real estate agent has. So she can in turn, or he can bring those properties, those buyers to you when you have those properties for sale. So there's a lot of ways to find buyers, and you can go on social media. LinkedIn is a big place, a really valuable place to find buyers on there. If you haven't joined LinkedIn, that's a social media site. Facebook is another one. I can tell you with precise and how I normally teach my students all these different ways to find buyers, but lately I've been using a very unique strategy to find buyers, and that's Facebook. What I do is create my own Facebook groups, and in the next video I'm going to show you guys, I got some training coming up. I'll give you a real quick sneak peek at it. I'm going to be having a 2-day live event seminar coming up, and I'm going to talk more about it in video number 3, but I'm going to get into the seminar deeply how I find buyers. It's a really good tricks on how to find buyers on Facebook. I create Facebook groups in my area, in my town, in my county, in other states. You can create Facebook groups all over the world and create an instant audience for buyers, sellers, people on your team. And I'm going to get more into this, but I just wanted to mention that real quick and give you a sneak peek about what I'm going to talk about later. Facebook groups are outstandingly amazing, and that's how I find buyers. You can also find buyers. Ask your real estate agent for the last 90-day sold list. Cash, that any property that sold for cash in the last 90 days is on the MLS. And I can show you guys how to find that, how to help a real estate agent find those last 90 days sold for cash. And that'll be a list of cash buyers right there that bought properties in the last 90 days for cash. So you can target these people. You can send a letter, you can call them, however you want to get a hold of them, guys. That is a list, a bucket of buyers right there for you. So I can go on all night about how to find buyers and get in deeper, but that's what's going to come up, some more training in video number 3 and in my 2-day live event seminar coming up that I'm going to talk about in video number 3. So stay tuned for that next video. A couple other ways we talked about: Facebook, any social media site. Your attorney can find buyers for you. Your attorney does a lot of real estate investing closings, properties that people buy all the time. He has to go through an attorney, and he takes care of all the closings, so he knows the buyers that are buying properties all the time. Your title company, your title agent will know, because your title agent has to do the searches on the properties, and they go into the courthouse and look up all the information that's public knowledge on who bought the property, who sold the property, so they can give you very valuable information. Hardly anybody gets in touch with these people, and this is some secret stuff that not many people talk about or teach or want to say about, because they all want to keep it to themselves. Well, I'm here to give you everything I got and everything I know, all my tricks, tips, strategies, anything that I learned day by day. I write them down, and I want to share with you guys. So stay with me. Watch video number 3 coming up, and be sure to go back and watch video number 1 and video number 2. And right now we're talking about buyers, but I get so excited because there's so much information I want to give you guys. And just a couple other ways to find buyers: property managers, they can find buyers for you. Forums on social media. We're going to talk more about ghost ads, and that's a real trick that I use, how to find buyers, is ghost ads. So what information were you going to need from your buyers? Well, you're going to need to know what area they want to buy in. That's a key. A lot of times people don't even ask these questions of their buyers. Once you find a buyer, you want to know how much they got to spend, what area they want to invest in, how many square feet the house is, what the price range from 10 to 30, 30 to 50, whatever that is. Some of them want to let you know that they got to have a certain return on investment, ROI, and maybe a cap rate. And for some of you who don't know the cap rate, it's just a certain rate with a formula that they buy. They want to buy at a certain price, and they figure all their costs in, and it gives them a cap rate. So that's what they figure. Sometimes they want to know that. But if you're talking, that's for there's 2 kinds of buyers. There's a cash buyer, and then there's a rent-to-own buyer. And I'm going to teach more and get into more in video 3, and talk deeply into my 2-day seminar coming up about that one strategy of land contracts, rent to own. And that's where I make a ton of my money. That's where I do deals with no money down. And just to give you an inside scoop about it, that's what I use every day, that I've become an expert at, is land contracts, rent to own. So if you're looking for a rent to own buyer, you're going to want to know what they have for a down payment, what they can afford for a monthly payment, and normally just ask them what they normally pay for interest, so you get an idea. So when you go to sell them a property, you're going to know what to charge them. So if you know a buyer's got $5,000 down, can afford $650 per month, and normally pays around, because he has so-so credit, that's the reason why he's buying on a rent-to-own, he pays 10 to 15% interest. Well, you're going to charge less than that. So when you go to buy your property, when you go to buy one, you know that you can only put $1,000 to $3,000 down on that property. Or if you're going to buy it for cash, that's fine. You got to know what your payment, your financing is on that. Since you already have your buyer, you know how to create your financing for it. And if you're going to buy on a land contract or rent to own, and sell on a land contract, rent to own, you already have your buyer's down payment. He can afford $5,000 down. So you're going to buy at $3,000. So your buyer's going to give you the $5,000. You're not going to use any of your own money. You're going to give your seller $3,000. You're going to pocket $2,000. Every month, your buyer can afford a certain amount, $650. Well, you're going to make sure that your payment is a couple $100 less than that. And we'll get more into that in the coming videos, and I go very deep on this. This is where I teach people on my 2-day live event coming up. I'm going to teach them this strategy, how to do no money down deals and pocket thousands and thousands of dollars. This is where I can go on vacations when I want. This is how I could build my dream home because of these land contracts, and that's what I became an expert at. But I'm not going to tell you any more about that. I want you to stay tuned in video 3 and learn more about that in the coming video. But basically, find a buyer first. That's my unique strategy, and this is what I'm going to teach you guys. This is what you absolutely want to do. You basically have 2 buckets, what you're learning here in these 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. You have a bucket of buyers, you have a bucket of sellers. You're in the middle. You're going to make these 2 people match. You're going to know what one wants to buy, you're going to know what one wants to sell, and you're going to negotiate that price. And don't be afraid about negotiation. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay? You're going to have a team. We're learning how to build a team. Most of your team is doing a lot of this work. Okay? Even negotiation. You might have somebody, you may say, I don't know how to negotiate, Jay. Well, I'm going to talk about negotiation coming up here in one of the other steps. Step 4 of the 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income is motivated sellers. Now, you want to find a motivated seller because you already have your buyer looking for a property. You know what he's got to spend, all right? So now you got to find these motivated sellers. You're not just finding any seller, okay? Anybody can find a seller. You're finding a motivated seller. You're skipping right to the meat and potatoes. You're not spending a lot of time, you're not wasting time going through Craigslist and going through a number of other areas trying to find sellers. You're going to get right down to the nitty-gritty and find a motivated seller. And how do you do that? Well, I'm going to tell you right now how you're going to do that. There's multiple ways to find motivated sellers. But the number one way, for me, the best thing that works like crazy for me is bandit signs. These bandit signs work like magic. Every morning when I get up, I turn my phone on, my phone just blows up with motivated sellers. Now these people are after me day in and day out, all night sometimes. I get texts, I get voicemails in the middle of the night. People want me to buy their houses. And they're very, very motivated sellers because they keep calling me back. They have found me through my bandit signs. That's how well these things work. This is one of the greatest inventions, I think, that I've learned from my mentor. Most people don't want to put these bandit signs out, and don't worry about it. You do not have to do it yourself. That's why we talk about the team. You and your assistant and team are going to sit down and watch this video, and they're the ones that are going to be taking calls. They're the ones that are going to be putting bandit signs out for you. They're the ones that are going to be knowing what to write on these signs, how to write them, what to put, how to spell things out. They're going to be doing this for you, so don't worry. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's not, because you're leveraging your team. You can do it if you want to, and when you find out how well these things work, you're going to want to do it yourself, but you don't have to. That's what I want you to know. I want you to know how well these work, and you have to use them. Most people say, oh yeah, they work. Well, believe it or not, the first year or two that I was in real estate investing, I knew that these things worked because I heard everybody talk about it, but I didn't want to use them. And I kind of shied away from using them because one day I tried to go out in a high traffic area near Walmart and put these signs out. And when I got out, you see these yellow signs sticking in the ground and people are looking at you. They're going by and they're stopping, they're looking, they're saying, what the heck is this guy doing? Well, it makes you feel, weird putting these signs out in front of everybody. But believe me, when the calls start coming in, you're going to get out there and you're going to have them, both of your hands are going to be full of them things, and you're going to be driving them in the ground everywhere you can, because your phone is not going to stop ringing to get you motivated sellers. And when, like we just talked about, if you already have your buyer lined up, you know what your buyer is going to pay, it's simple. You're so excited to use what these bandit signs are doing for you. You're going to negotiate the price that you know from these motivated sellers. Okay, they're coming in from all angles from these bandit signs. They work like magic, and that's just one way to find these motivated sellers. Why do you need motivated sellers? Because they need you. Really, they need you. You need them to sell to your buyers, but they need you more, and that's what you got to keep in mind. You're there for a solution for them guys. When they call you off them bandit signs, you're like a savior to them. I had this one lady tell me, she was like 80 years old, and God love the lady. My wife and myself went there and talked to her. We were there for two hours. She actually said, I can't believe I found you, off a little sign that said, I buy I sell homes and I buy houses. My sign was in, the grass was even high. You could barely read the sign. And she still got my number off that and called us. And she told us when we went there that basically in no uncertain terms that we are her savior, that if we buy her house, we're a solution to her. And when you sit down and talk to people and listen to their problems and actually listen to them, when you find these motivated sellers, you have to listen and find out what their problem is so you can find a solution. The solution is you're going to buy the property from them or have your buyer buy it. But you also want to listen so you find out what other solutions you can provide. Maybe they have to move somewhere. Maybe they need help with something. And if you can create a bunch of solutions, not only buying the property, you're going to be the only person that they want to sell that house to. And I've had this happen over and over and over again with bandit signs. When I go to their house and sit down and really listen to their problems and build a rapport with them and really understand why they have to sell. Not just, I want to get your property, I want to make money on it. You sit down and you talk about their family, you talk about their problems, you talk about their frustrations, their obstacles, and you find solutions for them. This 80-year-old lady, honestly, she only had one leg. She had an artificial leg, and her husband was a retired a woodworker, and they needed some things moved. And while we're there, we could do a few things for them that they weren't quite so great at doing. And you build a rapport and you help people out. This is what I can tell you. This is a short story, real quick. While we were there, this is no lie. The husband said, I asked him. I said, well, I told him my situation, what I do, and I'm not really sure I can buy your property, but what do you want for it? After looking at the property, it was beautiful. It had lilac trees and a wood shop and a big garden and trees. It was an awesome property. I thought they'd want $70,000, $80,000 for it. After sitting down and talking for 2 hours, finding out about their family and what they've been through when they were young and what they've been through when they were older and how they were a mentor to their kids. And we had a lot in common because I was a contractor and this particular seller was a woodworker and he was a carpenter. So we kind of, we had a lot in common. So when I asked him how much he wanted for it, he said $45,000. I looked at my wife, almost fell out of the chair, all because of a bandit sign. Now, keep that in mind, because they seen my bandit sign and they called. This is all happening because of that. And he said $45,000, and I'm like, wow, that's a very reasonable price. I said, Mr. Fisher. His name was Frank Fisher, and I said, that's a very reasonable price. And I kid you not, I overheard the wife talking to my wife, and she was whispering to my wife, she said, I'll try to get him down to $40,000. Do you believe that? And my wife looked at me, and I heard her, and I was praying that the husband didn't hear that, because he'd have probably come right out of his chair. But that's a short story, and that's the God's honest truth about that. And these are things that happen because of bandit signs. And that's just one way to find motivated sellers. So other ways are pre-foreclosures. You can find motivated sellers, word of mouth, driving for dollars. You can drive around, find vacant homes, estates, estate attorneys, people that, usually you look for the 4 Ds. And this is honestly true. The 4 Ds to find motivated sellers are divorce. People on a divorce, you're finding a solution for them because they got to sell. Divorce, death, that's where the estates come in. People die and the estate needs to sell the home. So divorce, death, disability, and disaster. That was the fourth one. So these are all problems and obstacles that people have that they have to sell, and you're the solution to them. So that's the next step. That's finding motivated sellers. That's just some ways to find motivated sellers, why you got to find them, how you can help them out. And I hope you guys really take this to heart, because these are some really cool things and some really things that can make you some money that you want to listen to, and you want to perform. You want to use bandit signs. You want to use some of these ways that I'm talking about, because these really work. And I want you to stay with me with video 3, because I have even more training coming up, free training for you guys. We're going to be talking about the next step coming up, and 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. The 5th step in 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income is negotiating the terms or structuring a deal. It's the same thing. So what you want to do is you have to structure the deal in a certain way for you, because you know what your buyer has to spend, all right? So you have to structure that deal so you can make money in the middle. The major thing in negotiating your terms is making it work for your buyer and making it work for your seller. So once you know what your buyer has to, I mean, if you're talking about negotiating terms with your buyer, let's just say your buyer you're always wanting, in my case, I always want to ask on a rent-to-own $5,000 down. In my area, I've just learned that that's the target price. That's the good price where I can make money and I have room to negotiate deals in. So $5,000. If I build my buyer's list for a rent-to-own and I'm always asking for $5,000 down and I get it, normally I'm negotiating my buy price for somebody else because I'm going to buy on a land contract, I'm going to sell on a land contract. So with my seller, when I go find a motivated seller and I'm going to buy on a land contract from them, I try to negotiate a $3,000 down. I'm going to buy it for $3,000 because my buyer's got $5,000. Well, if I don't have buyers for $5,000 down, what I do is I tell them, I say, look, I know you don't have $5,000 down, so I negotiate the terms farther with them. Maybe my total sales price that I'm going to sell them at the beginning was $50,000. Well, we can move that a little bit. We can say, look, my buyer says I don't have $5,000, I only got $4,000 down. So what I say to him is, okay, I can work with you. I always try to make this a win-win-win situation, and that's what you guys want to do. And that's what you're learning right here to do. I say, if you don't have $5,000 down, we're going to raise the interest rate from 7% to 9%. Okay? That's one thing we're going to have to do if you don't have it. If you can try to come up with the other $2,000 down, and I'm going to show you ways that you can come up with them down payments. In my next video, be on the lookout. I'm going to be talking about how to do this. So make sure you stick with me. I can show them how they can find the $2,000 more for the down payment, or I can tell them that I'm going to raise the interest rate. And if they can't find the $2,000, normally they don't have a problem paying the extra 2%. Or I might say instead of $50,000 for the total sales price for the house, it's going to be now $60,000. It's another $10,000 that on the end that you're going to have to buy it for. And a lot of times they don't care. A lot of times they do care. They might find that $2,000. Or they may come back to me and say, hey, look, I got $7,000 now. Would you take $48,000 for the house instead of $50,000? That's all negotiation. That's all, you can say, look, I'll get back to you. Now that I know the negotiating terms, what your buyer has, after you talk and listen and build rapport with him and keep notes on everything, you can go, when you buy, you know what you can buy at. So if you're going to be selling at, you tell him you're going to find a property for him for around $48,000 or $50,000, you know you're going to have to buy something for $20,000. It's all, and don't get discouraged. This is easy. This is easy. I didn't know a thing about real estate when I started. Not a thing. I knew how to build houses, but I didn't know how to negotiate deals like this. And you're going to learn this. It's easy, very easy. And anyway, you learn by listening and asking questions. But that's the most important thing in the negotiating process is you can move things up or down when you know what your buyer has. And once you do a few of these, you're going to get very creative, very good at this. And it's a really cool game to be able to help somebody and make money and switch things around in the negotiation process. You don't have to be a master negotiator, but believe me, if you're starting out and you don't know nothing about negotiation, you're going to be very, very good negotiator when you get done watching these videos, when you get done doing a few deals on your own. Or if you have me as a mentor to hold you by the hand, step by step, if you want that in the future, you're going to be able to learn a ton more from me because I learn every day. I'm a lifetime learner. And like I said, I have the best mentor and trainer in real estate history. I've been with him for the last 7 years, learning day in and day out from him. I devour everything that he's taught me. And that's what, a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching you, I've learned from him and other mentors. And you're going to be part of my family learning from me if you stick with me. So we'll move on to the next step in 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. The 6th step in 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income is utilize your team. And I'm very excited about this section because you're using leverage. You're leveraging your team. You're not doing everything yourself. It's so important to have this team built. And it's so exciting to see all these people doing the work for you. And not you just sitting back, but it's almost like you're sitting back and watching your team. It's your team. You're so proud of them. You've already, they've learned from these videos. You've taught them how to do things. And you see how well they do these things. You utilize them. The leverage for you. You can get many things done with leverage. And immediately after signing your purchase offer, you're going to begin to start utilizing this team. And one of them is your assistant. You've been using your assistant all through this. It's amazing to see all the work that they do and how much they can do, and they get better at it. And they, from sending documents to faxing to organizing stuff, getting things to the attorney, getting it back. It's amazing to see how they work. It's almost like a well-oiled machine. That's how exciting it is to watch all these parts of your team move and how they work and get things done and accomplish stuff. And you're honestly making money at this. You sit back and say, wow, I'm making money and watching my team. They're just like a gear. They're moving. And the money starts coming out. It's like a cash machine because they're doing the work. They're good at what they do. They've learned how to do things more efficient. And you're at the wheel of the boat and you're steering them. And you're so proud of your team when you see how things come through together. You're one. Utilizing your team, you're putting a system together. You're using a system. Your team is a system. You're using leverage in your system. And that's the whole name of this game. You're using your assistant to get a hold of your attorney. Your attorney's drawing up the contract. Your contracts are coming back for you to sign. Your assistant's bringing it to you. You're calling your title company to do a search on the property. They're making sure there's no liens or judgments. They're getting back to you. They're doing their job. They're doing what they're good at. And you don't have to be good at everything. You have the team to do that. Okay? They're lining up each team member together. They know what team member to call. They're calling the next person. They're getting back to it. They're coming to you saying, hey, this is done, this is done, this is done. The attorney did this. The title company did that. And it's like I said, a well-oiled machine. And you're so proud to see this whole system take shape because you've learned how to do it. You've built the team. You're watching it in action. And this becomes so simple that it's amazing. And not only that, you're making money at it. Can you believe that? So, as your assistant makes phone calls and gathers all this information and how your team members get back to you, you realize that this system, you can use it forever. Once you build it, it's a lifetime of generating cash. It's a lifetime of your team getting better day after day after day and getting more efficient. So it becomes exciting to do deals. It becomes exciting that you're helping people, and that's what life is about. You want to help people. You want to help your team get better because you guys are going to be taking vacations together. You're going to be making money together. You're going to be able to be giving them bonuses. You're going to be learning from your team. I know I've learned tons and tons of stuff from my team. And I get so excited to get up in the morning because this system that's working, I know I'm going to be learning things from them. And we're all going to be working together. And when you see this system take place and start making you generating cash and how you can use leverage with this, you're going to be amazed. And you're going to want to do even more and more deals and learn even more and more. So I hope you guys take pride in what you do and how you develop your team and how you treat your team because that makes all the difference in the world. So the next step and the final step of this whole thing is closing out the property, having the closing, generating the profit, making sure it's a win-win-win situation for everybody. So we'll be talking about the next step number 7, and 7 steps, the final step of 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income with closing out the property and making a profit. We're finally at the closing, the 7th step of 7 steps to unlimited lifetime income. And man, am I excited, because this is where you gather the profit. This is where you see the buyer and seller come together. This is where you make things happen, where you make a win-win-win situation. I don't know how many times I've been to the closing table, and not one time was I not super excited to exchange property for money and to see the smile in people's faces because I found a solution for the sellers. I found a solution for the buyers. At the closing, there's no better feeling than seeing the look on a seller's face when I've just helped them out of a desperate situation, where I see the look in their eyes was so desperate when I was sitting at the coffee table talking to them about buying their property, and how some of them had tears in their eyes. They didn't know if they could sell the property. They didn't know if they'd get out of the situation that they were in. And when we finally went to the closing table and it was time to exchange money for their property, and not only that, see the look in their eyes that their problem is solved. There's no better feeling in the world than that. And also, when you're selling a property to a buyer, there's no better feeling than sitting across from that buyer in the closing table and seeing the proudness and the confidence and the look in their eyes when they went from renter to homeowner. They've waited all their life to become a homeowner, and you just made it happen. And that's the greatest feeling in the world. And that's what I couldn't wait to talk about closing, because you're going to feel these feelings. You're going to see the look in them people's eyes, how you solve their problems, how you help them find their dream home, how you made their dream happen. You made it become a reality, not once, but time and time and time again. That's the best feeling in the world, and that's why I get up every day, and that's why I do this. That's why I teach others. That's why I teach you to be able to do this. All this stuff that I'm teaching you really is all going to pay off when you come and sit at the closing table and you get to say that I'm the person who helped this person. I'm the one that really made this possible for this person. That's when it's really exciting. And we can talk about building a team and making money. And making money is the byproduct, because honestly, if you're in this to give, and if you're really in it to give, the money's going to come. And the best part is to be able to sit in that closing table and yeah, you're going to make a profit, but the best part is to see the look in their eyes and know that you help somebody over and over and over again. So, some of the things that you're going to have to take care of at the closing table, and your attorney's going to take care of all of it for you. You're going to have part of your team there. There's attorney fees, and it's different in every state. But you're going to, in mine, normally, I'll tell you, in my area, it's usually about $500 for a closing, depending on what they got to do. If they got to take care of liens and judgments or whatever for you, they might charge you a little bit extra. But they take care of all that stuff. Don't worry. It might cost you a little extra here or there, but there's going to be recording fees. When it switches hands from to seller to the buyer, they have to record that in the public office, so the new owner is recorded in there. Any tax prorations, if there's taxes due on the property, or normally when you pay the taxes on a property, you pay it at a certain date and it's good for the whole year. Well, when you buy a property, they have to prorate that. And anyway, that's all taken care of in the closing. Your attorney does this at the closing. All these figures are all on paper. It's called a HUD settlement statement in the closing. You get all that on what all the costs were, and whatever's left, the seller gets. So, before the last couple steps, we talked about fuel reimbursement. That's all taken care of because you negotiated that. That's taken care of in the closing. All the utilities start to get changed over. Now, if you're the new buyer, your power has to be switched over, and all this stuff. Usually, the attorney and your team take care of that. Is taken care of at the closing. The abstract is all. You get your new abstract saying that there was a 40-year search done on the property. Here you go. It's all taken care of by your title company. Your team takes care of all this stuff. It all comes together at the closing. Everybody's happy at the closing. You get paid. Your seller is relieved from their debt and their distress. If it's your buyer, they're now a new homeowner. Everybody's happy, and you get to do it all over again. You get to go home and start the next deal, because you're going to have multiple deals in your pocketbook waiting, in your bucket, in your buckets, your buyer and seller book. You're going to have them waiting, because you're going to build a pipeline, because you're going to be addicted to that feeling that you get at the closing. It's all about the feeling of helping people, and you're going to want to close every day. You're going to want to do deals so you can go to closing every day, because there's no better feeling in the world to see that you help somebody. So I hope you enjoyed these videos, and make sure you come back at the end and see video number 3, because I got some more surprises for you. I want you to know that you can take what you have learned today, the real impact to your clients and your income. You can have all that just by implementing the 7 steps to unlimited income. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you even more about the roadblocks or challenges that people face, and how to overcome those to get instant results, so you can have the income you truly deserve. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, please enter any questions or comments in the space below this video. I'll try my best to answer all of them personally and serve you in any way I can. I look forward to being engaged with you, and I am truly blessed to have you on board with me. So I'll see you in the next video.